These are some quick and simple setups for when you create a Lightroom catalog for yourself on your external hard drive. So I have one open that's brand new, but really quickly, let's show you how to set one up. So when you open up Lightroom, first thing it always does on our school computers is it opens up showing it in a please choose a Lightroom catalog or create a new one. If you click create a new one, it would give you the options to create a new one. So here's what we're going to do with creating a new one. I've already got one open. Assume this is the one that's the default one that's on the school's computer. I'm going to go ahead and click here where it says File, New Catalog, and it pops up and it says, okay, where do you want to put this catalog? So if you have an external hard drive hooked up, you could choose your external hard drive. And then once you've chosen your external hard drive, find a location for it. For example, I'm just going to go ahead and put it randomly in here. I'm going to create a new folder real quick and just call it Lightroom. And now it's going to go inside here. And then I would name the catalog. Now, what's best for you guys to do in the class is to go ahead and name your catalog for the whole semester. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is just call it, PE 20 for Photo 20, Fall 2023. And I'm going to go ahead and save it inside of this Lightroom catalog here location. Not Lightroom catalog, but this Lightroom folder that I created. And I'm also going to put the word catalog here, or just in case, Lightroom catalog. Now the reason I did this is because when I save it, it actually creates a folder that puts all the contents and all of the important files that it needs inside there. And so basically by creating a folder that you know the name of, that helps. Also putting it somewhere it's easy to find on your hard drive is another thing you should do. So I'll go ahead and click Create. It's going to close this one. It's going to pop open another one real quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now. Hey, pretty close. And so here's this new Lightroom catalog that I've created. Now you guys can see that once it opens up and it creates it, it's pretty much where it needs to be. It updates it for any information. Now, quick setups for your home computer and also for this catalog that are very important and you must do. So I'll run through them. First, we will start with Lightroom Classic drop-down menu here, and we will choose Preferences. In Preferences, there are a bunch of important preferences that should be set at the get-go when you first start using Lightroom. First is treat JPEGs next to RAW files as separate photos. If you've been shooting RAW and JPEG at the same time, which I don't recommend, you can always export out JPEGs. JPEG is a final file. It's the cookie that you bake, whereas the RAW file is the dough. Anyways, so basically I'm going to go ahead and click that one there. I'm also going to go to presets, and I'm going to say in here there is an option to store the presets with this catalog. So if I create a preset for my name or and my copyright or those types of things that I always want to apply to the images when I'm importing, I can do it, and it's with this catalog. And what's great is you can share it with other catalogs, but it's definitely going to be in this catalog. It's not going to be on the school's computer. All right, so once I've done that, I can go ahead and close that one. The other one that's very important to set up is catalog settings. And in catalog settings, basically what you want to do is you want to open this up and you want to choose this option of automatically write changes into XMP, because if you don't do this, your files will basically be Basically, an XMP file is a sidecar file that contains the data of all your processing for your images. It resides in Lightroom, in the Lightroom catalog by default, but if you open up the RAW file externally, like you double click it to open it up, say straight into Photoshop, it won't reflect how it looks in here unless that sidecar file is created. You also have the option of creating a DNG when you import them, which puts that sidecar file inside of the actual DNG file, and DNG is basically an open source RAW file. So that's another choice for you, and take an advanced class and we'll explain what to do there. So once you've got this going, let's go ahead and create let's bring some images in. So I'm going to really quickly open up a different catalog that I wanted to use for this. That's not that one. should go a little bit quicker. Boom, ba-doo, bop, ba-dum, boom, ba-doo, 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 bop, bop. Wow, it took a little bit of time. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to import in some images. Now, this is a cool thing about the importing in. You can choose to bring files that you already have on a hard drive into Lightroom, or you can bring them in from the camera card. That is up to you. So it becomes a nice choice for you as you are working. So I like to bring it in from the card, but occasionally I have to take it off because I like to use the file organization that it does. So we're going to go ahead and click import. It opens up this dialog here. But also, let me cancel that real quick. There was a setting. Make sure I click that one there. Also, the backup settings are under the catalog settings. So if you want to see how often it backs up, you can change it. It's up to you there. Also, how long it's going to save a zoomed in preview of an image. So if you double click on an image and zoom in 1:1, you can save it for a certain amount of time. That keeps your file, your Lightroom file smaller. Okay, so we've got all that. Let's go in here. Preferences. Go back to general preferences. Right here, this one, sometimes it's clicked, sometimes it is not. Show import dialog when a memory card is detected. That is very important. So we will go ahead and that's good. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and place a card in. And once it comes in, it shows you all the images that are on this card. By default, and this is where I want you guys to pay close attention, by default, it wants to save this to the school's computer in the pictures folder. If you do this and then you reformat your card, you will lose these images because remember, our school computers erase all the data when we restart them. So basically you want to make sure you're navigating to your external hard drive. In this instance, I believe I'm actually working on the desktop. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the images inside of here. But inside of here, I'm going to create a new folder inside of there. So I'm going to do a right click, create a new folder, and I will call this new folder Photos. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to go ahead and have the images go into a folder called that. Now you'll also notice, so it's going into this basics, into the photos folder, and basically it's going by the date here. Now the date is set right here. I have it going into a folder, and then it's going to go ahead and create, if there are different days, there will be different days folders. You notice there's 126 photos here, and you notice it's selected right here. If I go in and uncheck, and then maybe only choose to bring in this one image here, it'll say 1 of 126. Now, this window here can allow you to, like they like to say, cull the images. You can double click on the images, take a look at what you want to bring in, looking for what you think is the best action shot based on what the person is doing. For example, this might be a nice sequence, so these shots might be pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe bring in this whole batch. So I'll go back to the grid view real quick, and I will go ahead and select this whole batch of this guy surfing. And it looks like he's all on the same wave through here. So I'll go ahead and grab that batch. Now, so I selected the first one, selected the next one, and then I did the check mark, and it did the whole batch. And then once again, I can go through and look for other shots I might want to do. One of the things about shooting sports is obviously not all the time do you get the perfect image when you're trying to shoot. For example, you can see this one's kind of interesting. The one guy drops in on the other guy and then he wipes out. This guy's trying to do some sort of fancy move here. Doesn't pull it off. That's almost good, but there's a head popping off of his shoulder, so that's not that great. So once again, I'll go ahead and, now another way to do this is to make your thumbnails a little bit larger. And then that way you're kind of like maybe looking at them a little bit better, but they're still not that large. So once again, I'll go ahead and scroll through what I'm looking for here. Now this guy did a pretty good move here, so I'm going to go ahead and go back out and grab his batch of stuff. Now, you'll notice that as I'm looking at these images, they appear to be going backwards. That's because I've got this set up to to sort these by capture time, Z to A. So if I go A to Z, it would flip-flop it, and then that way I can see the oldest one first. So for example, I might like, here's your establishing shot of the weather. So I'll go ahead and grab this one. I'm gonna use the letter P to choose this single shot. That one's definitely out of focus. Here's this gentleman again here, sleeveless. These women here. Some guy with a broom in the background. So as we roll through, we find a guy doing a sequence. He's trying to do something interesting here, but he's really far away, so this isn't a great shot. This gentleman's kind of on the fly here. He looks like he's going for some cross step. Another guy got burned by the wave. I'm just going to scroll through these quickly to see if any of these pull off anything. Now, once again, I'm going to go ahead and grab this sequence through here to here, same gentleman. And then I'll see if there's anybody else doing anything interesting. I'm scrolling through quickly. I already grabbed that sequence. So basically, I'm grabbing about 40 shots from this photo shoot. Now, this is where I can be a little bit more efficient. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys kind of a cool feature. As I'm bringing these in, I can put in all these images into Lightroom into a collection, and I can go ahead and create a new collection, and I will call it Tropical Storm Waves. And I hit create. That's going to create a collection. There is an ability to go in here and to add keywords if I need to. I can also do file naming as these are coming in. So if I go into file renaming, I can go in and do whatever the slug line is for the newspaper article that I need to do. So I would go in and create the file name as they're coming in. And I would renumber them so that they're only using the numbers of what I shot versus all of the shots that I didn't bring in. So I would go ahead and say create a custom name with, we'll go with a custom name and a sequence number, and then I will click here and say edit and pop up here, and what do I want the custom text to be? So I'll go ahead and click here, make sure this is doing, if I'm bringing in over 100 images, I make sure to do 001. I'll go ahead and do that. I'll say done. And then custom text here, I'll just say, storm surf, something along those lines. And so that's basically what it's going to do. So I'll go ahead and bring these in by clicking import. So a quick and powerful way to quickly bring these in. Now, Lightroom can be used to do captioning. It's not as powerful or robust as with Photo Mechanic, but it isn't a bad thing. So what I can do is go into here, click under EXIF and go to what's called large caption. This gives me a caption information, and then in here I could type in a very basic caption that covers all of the story, And then when I export these out as JPEGs and then bring them into Photo Mechanic, I can go in and do the specific captions inside of Photo Mechanic. So in here I might just say, you know, tropical storm. Surf at Surfers Point, Ventura. And this was on 08/23/23. So basically you go in and you type in the information, and that's basically there for the caption. I could put more information if I actually knew who the people were, and I could put that information in there, or I could, but when I go into more specific stuff, then I might want to consider doing, like I said, doing that inside of Photo Mechanic is a much more powerful way of doing it. So I'll go ahead and say done. And now these all basically, I've got the first one with the caption. So then what I can do now is select all of the images, and then I can go down here to say where it says sync, and when it pops up, it gives me this ability to go in and synchronize information. So I can type in the copy information, my name, the headline of the paper, of the story, any of the sort of information that's important for the newspaper. Once again, information with me, my phone number and email, so that the editors can reach back to me and say, hey, what's going on with this photo, that type of thing. And then as I scroll through here, you guys will see that there is a line where the caption should be showing. Where is it? There we go. Description, it's in the caption information here. So if I go ahead and say synchronize, boom, now all the images have all of that information in there. Now remember, I'm copying it from this one to all the rest of the images. So there you go, some very basics on how to use Lightroom to bring images in. In the next video, we'll talk about how to actually process Lightroom files.